The shopping mall's Christmas decorations seemed to mock Daniel Carter as he checked his phone again. 4:47 p.m. He had exactly 13 minutes to pick up his daughter Zoe's birthday present, get to the daycare before the late fee kicked in, and somehow figure out how to explain why her birthday party tomorrow would be just the two of them. Again. Single fatherhood at 29 wasn't the plan. But when Zoe's mother had walked out 3 years ago, plans became irrelevant. Now it was just survival, one day at a time. Daniel was speed-walking toward the toy store when he heard it, a small, frightened voice cutting through the holiday crowd noise. "Mommy, Mommy!" He turned to see a little girl, maybe 4 years old, standing frozen near the fountain. She wore an expensive-looking navy coat and held a stuffed rabbit, her face crumpling as she realized she was alone. Shoppers streamed past her, everyone too busy to notice one small, terrified child. Daniel's parental instincts overrode his schedule. He approached slowly, kneeling to her level a few feet away so he wouldn't frighten her. "Hey there, are you lost?" The girl nodded, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I can't find Mommy. She was right there and then she wasn't, and I looked everywhere." Her words tumbled out in a panicked rush. "Okay, it's okay. My name is Daniel and I have a little girl too. We're going to find your mom, I promise. What's your name?" "Sophie." She hugged her rabbit tighter. "Sophie Winters." "Hi, Sophie. That's a beautiful name. And who's this?" He pointed to the rabbit. "Mr. Hopscotch. Mr. Hopscotch is very distinguished." Daniel smiled gently. "Sophie, do you know your mommy's phone number?" She shook her head. "I'm only 4. I don't know numbers yet except to 10. "That's okay. What does your mommy look like?" "She's really pretty and tall, and she has dark hair, and she was wearing—" Sophie scrunched up her face, thinking hard. "A black coat, like mine, but bigger." Daniel glanced around at the crowd. At least 30 women fit that description within view. "Okay. Does your mom's phone have a special sound? Maybe we could call it?" "She always has her phone. She talks on it all the time." Sophie's lip trembled. "She's going to be so mad I got lost." "She's not going to be mad, sweetie. She's going to be relieved. Moms don't get mad about this stuff. They just get scared because they love you so much." Daniel thought of Zoe, how his heart stopped every time she was out of sight for more than 3 seconds. "Let's go to the security desk, okay? They can make an announcement." "I don't want to go with a stranger," Sophie said suddenly, clearly remembering her safety lessons even through her fear. "That's very smart. You're absolutely right." Daniel pulled out his phone. "Look, this is my daughter Zoe. She's 6, see? And here's my ID." He showed her his driver's license. "And we're going to stay right here where lots of people can see us, and I'm going to call mall security to come help us. You don't have to go anywhere with me, okay?" Sophie studied his phone, then his face, her little mind working through the decision. Finally, she nodded. Daniel called mall security, explained the situation, and within 3 minutes, a security officer named Luis arrived. "Hey, Sophie," Luis said kindly. "I'm going to help find your mom. Can you tell me what she looks like?" As Sophie repeated her description, Daniel noticed her shivering. The mall was warm, but shock did that to kids. Without thinking, he shrugged off his jacket, his only good jacket, the one without stains, and draped it around her shoulders. "There, better?" Sophie nodded, pulling the jacket tight. Luis radioed in the information. "We'll make an announcement. Her mom's probably frantic. Thanks for staying with her, sir." "Of course." They waited by the fountain. Daniel checked his phone. 4:58 p.m. The daycare late fee was now inevitable, and he'd missed his chance at the toy store. But Sophie's small hand had crept into his, and he couldn't bring himself to care about schedules. "My daddy left," Sophie said suddenly, quietly. "When I was a baby, Mommy says he wasn't ready to be a daddy." Daniel's chest tightened. "I'm sorry, Sophie." "Do you have a daddy?" "I did. He died when I was young, but I had my mom, and she was enough. And I bet your mom is enough, too. She works a lot. She says it's so we can have nice things." Sophie looked down. "But I just want her home more." Before Daniel could respond, he heard it. A woman's voice, sharp with panic, cutting through the crowd. Sophie Winters! Mommy! Sophie's head whipped around and then she was running, Mr. Hopscotch forgotten on the ground. A woman burst through the crowd, tall, dark-haired, wearing a designer black coat, her face a mask of pure terror that dissolved into relief as Sophie crashed into her legs. She dropped to her knees, pulling Sophie into a crushing hug, sobbing openly. Oh God, Sophie, I turned around for 2 seconds. She was shaking, checking Sophie over with trembling hands. Are you okay? Are you hurt? I'm okay, Mommy. This nice man helped me. He called security and let me hold his phone and gave me his jacket because I was scared. The woman looked up at Daniel for the first time, and he felt the world tilt slightly. She was beautiful, but more than that, there was something in her eyes, an intensity and intelligence that made his breath catch. You stayed with her? Her voice was rough with emotion. Of course. I couldn't just leave her alone. Daniel picked up Mr. Hopscotch, offering it to Sophie. Someone had to keep Mr. Hopscotch company. The woman stood, still holding Sophie. I don't know how to thank you. I was in the store looking at something, and when I turned around, she was just gone. I've been searching for 10 minutes. It felt like hours. I understand. I have a daughter. That fear is... Daniel couldn't finish. They both knew. Victoria Winters. She extended her hand. And you are? Daniel Carter. Mr. Carter saved me, Mommy. He showed me his daughter and his ID and called the security man and everything. Victoria's eyes studied Daniel with new appreciation. You did everything exactly right. Thank you. Just helping a kid in trouble. Daniel checked his phone, 5:12 p.m. I should go, actually, late pickup at daycare. Wait. Victoria reached into her purse, pulled out a business card. Please, I'd like to properly thank you. Dinner or whatever would be appropriate, I insist. Daniel glanced at the card. Victoria Winters, CEO, Winters Global Enterprises. His stomach dropped. Winters Global was one of the biggest tech companies in the world. He'd seen articles about Victoria Winters, the billionaire who'd built an empire before 35, the tech titan who revolutionized cloud computing. And he'd just wrapped his stained jacket around her daughter. That's really not necessary, he managed. It absolutely is. Victoria's tone shifted. This was the voice of someone used to getting what she wanted. You stayed with my daughter when you could have kept walking. You made her feel safe. That's worth more than... Her voice cracked. Please, let me say thank you properly. Daniel looked at Sophie, who was watching him hopefully, then at Victoria, whose eyes held something desperate. Not just gratitude, but a loneliness he recognized. Okay, he said, but fair warning, I have a 6-year-old, so my schedule is chaotic, and I can't afford fancy restaurants. Victoria smiled, a real smile that transformed her face. I'll work around your schedule, and we'll go wherever you want. Daniel expected nothing to come of it. Billionaires didn't actually follow through on promises to single dads who worked in IT support and drove a 10-year-old Honda. But the next day, his phone rang. Mr. Carter, this is Victoria Winters. Is tomorrow evening too soon for that thank you dinner? Sophie's been asking about you nonstop. Dinner turned into coffee. Coffee turned into a playdate between Sophie and Zoe at the park. The playdate turned into regular weekend meetups. And somewhere in there, Daniel stopped being surprised when Victoria showed up at his apartment with pizza, when she came to Zoe's school play, when she asked his advice on balancing work and parenting. You make it look easy, she said one evening, watching him help both girls with homework at his small kitchen table. I make it look like controlled chaos, Daniel corrected. There's a difference. But you're present. Even when you're exhausted, even when work is demanding, you're here. I've been so focused on building the company, on securing Sophie's future, that I forgot about securing her present. So change it. Just like that? Just like that. You're the CEO, delegate, set boundaries, come home for dinner. Daniel smiled. It's not easy, but neither is anything worth doing. Victoria studied him. How did you get so wise? Necessity and therapy, lots of therapy. 3 months after they met, Victoria offered Daniel a position at Winters Global, head of IT security, with a salary that made him dizzy and flexible hours that would actually let him parent. This isn't charity, she said firmly when he hesitated. I've had my people vet you thoroughly. You're overqualified for your current position, and you have ideas about cloud security that my team needs to hear. This is business, and the fact that our kids are best friends is a very fortunate coincidence. Victoria's expression softened. Daniel, you gave me my daughter back. But more than that, you showed me what actually matters. I want to do the same for you. Not as charity, but as a partnership. You make me a better parent. Let me help make your life easier. Daniel looked at Zoe and Sophie, playing with dolls in the corner, already inseparable. He thought about years of struggling, of late fees and missed opportunities, of doing everything alone. Okay, he said, partners. 1 year later, Daniel stood in his new office at Winters Global, the office with windows and space and his name on the door, and couldn't quite believe the journey. From a chance encounter at a mall fountain to this. Victoria appeared in his doorway, Sophie and Zoe trailing behind her. Ready for lunch? The girls have been begging for pizza. Always ready for pizza. Daniel saved his work, grabbed his jacket, a new one, but he'd kept the old stained one in his closet as a reminder. As they headed to the elevator, Sophie slipped her hand into his. Daniel, can I ask you something? Of course, kiddo. Are you and Mommy going to get married? Because Zoe and I decided we want to be real sisters, not just friend sisters. Daniel caught Victoria's eye over the girls' heads. She was blushing, trying not to smile. That's a question for your mom and me to figure out, Daniel said carefully. But I can tell you that whatever happens, you two will always be in each other's lives. Promise. But real sisters would be better, Sophie insisted with 4-year-old logic. She makes a compelling argument, Victoria murmured. She does, Daniel agreed, taking Victoria's hand. Very compelling. 6 months later, when Daniel proposed in the same spot where he'd first found Sophie, by the mall fountain with both girls holding signs that said, "Will you marry our dad, Mom?" Victoria said yes before he'd finished the question. Because sometimes helping a lost child find her mother means finding your own way home. And sometimes the best partnerships start with a small voice saying, "Mommy?" and a stranger deciding that walking away was never an option. That was the thing about Daniel Carter. He'd never been the type to walk away. And Victoria Winters had built an empire on recognizing value when she saw it. Together they built something even better, a family.